Trying to get the chat set up here. Where is my chat? There we go. Alright, hey everybody, it's Cerberus here. I know I haven't been around for a while. Had a lot of stuff going on. I tried to release some new content a way back, but ran into some copyright issues. Hopefully we don't run into that situation today. I thought I'd keep things simple tonight. We're going to be looking at doing a reaction to court cam videos. I thought these might be kind of fun. Now, before I get into it, this should be covered under free use, so hopefully I don't run into the same copyright issues I ran into with the last content I tried to release. But as I react to this, I'll give some input based on what I know. Keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not trying to give anybody any legal advice in any way, shape, or form. I do have a criminal justice degree, so I will be reacting based on that, based on my knowledge of. Sorry, guys. Based on my knowledge of the legal system and what these people are going through. So, without further ado, let's take a look at these people. You don't know when to be quiet. I'm sure they don't.
Audiences are standing and cheering with no time to die.
And there will be ads. I'm sorry about that. I got no way around that.
What? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Get back! Get back! Get back!
Next, we go to a bond hearing in Elyria, Ohio. Appearing remotely is the defendant, Ebony Burks. She's charged with misdemeanor assault and domestic violence against her grandfather, Shedrick McRae, and his companion. At the
Okay.
bench is Judge Gary Bennett.
Good morning, Miss Burke.
So I'm guessing maybe this was a elder abuse type situation. Or let me go back and listen to it. What was the victim situation? Yeah. Misdemeanor assault.
Her grandfather, Shedrick
Yeah.
McRae, and his
Okay,
companion.
grandfather, yeah. Probably some
At the bench
elder
is
abuse
Judge Gary
involved in
Bennett.
there.
Good morning, Miss Burks.
After reading the charges, the judge asked Burks how she'd like to plead.
You have 3 pleas available to you today. Guilty, not guilty, and no contest. What plea would you enter?
I'm not guilty.
So far, so good. The judge sets bond for the 2 charges at $15,000.
Go to trial.
His only condition is that Burks not be in contact with the victims, which could be difficult since she shares a home with McRae.
No contact means you can't call him, you can't write him, you can't text him, you can't email him, can't leave a message on some social media, you can't go visit him. If you go someplace, even though you may have arrived first and one of them shows up, you have to leave.
So you gonna tell me I can't go home?
I'm telling you, you can't go home. If you live with Mr. McRae, you cannot return to that residence.
Oh, but how you just gonna tell me I can't go home though?
What?
How you gonna tell me I
It's
can't
a
go
judge. What do you
I
think?
just did.
Typically, right about now, a lawyer or even a judge might try to de-escalate the situation. But it
I guess maybe she's trying to represent herself. I mean, if she had an attorney, the attorney should be present for the arraignment. But yeah, I guess she's trying to represent herself.
it's clear this is not a typical bond hearing.
How you gonna tell me I can't go to my home?
I just did.
Well, I bet I do.
Well, then you're in contempt, young lady, and you've got 30 days. So you're
Yep.
not going. You're not what?
Got 30 days. We got 30 days. 30 days. Do I hear 40 days?
That's another 30 days.
We got 60. All right. We got 60 days. We're going on 60 days. Do I hear 90 days? Got 90 days right here. 120 days. Got 120 days. And we're going on 180 days. Do I hear 200 days? Do I hear 200? Do I hear 200 days? Going once, going twice. Do I hear
Looks like Burks
200
may be
days?
finished.
What else you got to say?
Hold on, she's coming
But
back.
wait, there's more.
We'll talk in 6 months when you're ready to come back for your case.
I ain't got money.
That's 200 days.
Oh, got 200.
Anything else to say, Miss Brooks? That's 300 days.
All right.
Though she racked up 300 days, Burks only ended up serving 88. According to
Aw.
Judge Bennett, it was the longest sentence he's ever imposed for contempt of court. As for her assault and domestic violence,
Yeah, that's got to be right up there.
they were suspended, but she was forced to enter a substance abuse program.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Not as sorry as she's gonna be.
Yeah, that's got to be some kind of record for a contempt sentence. Contempt of court's just any time you interrupt the proceedings in a courtroom or act in a way that's disrespectful to anybody in there. So usually they're relatively small sentences. I mean, depending on the circumstances, they can be anywhere from 10 days to a couple months, or even like that woman, 300 days if you really push it. Most of the time it doesn't get that high though. Um, I guess she'll have a lot of time to think about how she's supposed to behave in a courtroom. And if I were her, I'd see about exercising my right to an attorney. Let's see who's next.
Next up is Michael Ray, who's facing 4 charges, including criminal
That doesn't look like a beard. That looks like upside down hair.
trespassing and second-degree assault. A bond or a bail hearing is usually a quick proceeding if the defendant is cooperative. The prosecutor suggests a bail amount for Ray based on the crime and the defendant's history.
Your Honor, the county's requesting $25,000 full cash behind all charges.
You think that's funny?
We weren't done.
Ray might feel $25,000 is too high, but sarcasm won't get him a reduction, and the judge lets him know it.
All right, so bond is $50,000.
Woohoo!
No bail credit.
I didn't
Danger
get
to
a chance.
community.
Very nice.
Thinks these are funny charges. I was lucky I didn't hold him in contempt.
Ray just had his bond doubled,
We'll be back.
but as he re-enters the hallway, he has something else to say.
Oh,
You bring him in. Hold back
that's
here.
it's not just contempt. That's threatening a judge. I
Charges.
think that might be a different kind of
Ray's
charge.
language isn't the only thing to upset the judge. According to court officials, the defendant also gave her the middle finger.
I honestly can't tell.
30 days
I
to serve
I
on
thought he was
contempt
just
before
doing this like a
twice.
salute, but I don't
Judge
know.
calls him back.
His fingers go off
It looks
screen,
like
so
he's gone.
If we bring him back in, he's just gonna get another 30 days for doing something else.
So they move on to the next case.
Case number
Okay.
90, Scott Raymer.
When, sure enough, Ray comes back for
but
more.
wait, there's more.
Sir, I'm holding you in contempt for what you did.
What you holding me in?
And so,
You shut man. You
alright, you can take him back 100 days to serve.
100 days. All right, we're on 100 days.
because of 2 EPOs and criminal mission case?
That's right, the
EPA.
judge just gave him 100
Protection
days in
orders.
jail.
Okay, so he's got protection orders against him.
Ray could just walk away without making matters even worse, but he goes a different route.
Your Honor, I think we need to.
Yeah,
Can we bring
Oh
him back?
boy.
he's gotta be charged.
So we're at, how many days we add into this?
What started out as 4 serious charges has grown into a grand total
Yep,
of 10
terroristic threat.
on the span of
threatening a judge.
approximately 3 minutes.
You can't threaten a judge. It's a bad idea.
No, I figure that's just a lesson on what not to do, so you all are good.
Next, we're in Las Vegas, Nevada for an arraignment hearing.
Okay.
City versus Joshua Martinez.
Joshua Martinez is representing himself after being charged for driving with a suspended license.
Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I highly recommend against doing this. You have the right to an attorney in all criminal cases. I suggest everyone use it. There's very few circumstances where representing yourself will go well.
On the charge of having a suspended driver's license on April 12th. What is your plea, sir?
Just I have a couple questions before we proceed. I don't understand the nature and cause of the charges.
Well, you're charged with
driving without a
suspended,
license.
canceled, or revoked driver's license.
Sounds pretty cut and dry. Well, not to Martinez, who apparently wants to dig into the legal details.
Okay, is there a sworn statement against me or injured party?
I believe you
Okay, I think I know where this guy's going. Um, basically, one of those people who believes there's no victim, there's no crime. Um, I do understand the logic behind that, but there's also preventative charges. Well, I'm not going to get into that, so. But he still committed a crime. I mean, he's sharing the roadway with other people who are driving around him under the expectation that he's like a licensed driver that knows what he's doing as well as them. So, um, the local law enforcement has the obligation to ensure that to everyone else that's using the road. Okay, I got more into that than I wanted to, but that's the logic behind it. Not saying whether anybody agrees with it or not, but that's the logic behind these laws as far as the roads go.
Probably received a citation on April 12th. That would be the criminal complaint filed against you.
Okay, and is there a injured party or damage to property here
It's
against you?
charge brought by the city of Las Vegas.
Okay, so the city's the victim in the case?
The city is the charging.
So they're the victim.
Whatever direction Martinez is trying to take things, Commissioner Ann Elworth is not going there.
This is not going to work anywhere in the country if you try it. It's just not going to work.
What is your plea on
If the city
Mr.
is
Martinez?
the,
Mr.
if they are
Martinez,
the
today is your
victim,
Mr.
I would like
Martinez.
to
I am in
move
charge
this
of
to
this
a federal
courtroom, and
court.
you're going to stop
No,
it.
we are in charge of the courtroom.
It may be called the People's Court, but the judge
Yeah,
is about to show
don't tell the
who's
judge
actually
she's
in
not in
charge
charge of
here.
her
Marshal,
courtroom.
would you show Mr. Martinez the inside of our holding tank, please? You're not going to tell me who's in charge of my courtroom, Mr. Martinez. Go ahead and go with the marshal. That is direct contempt of court.
You are in contempt.
Martinez is temporarily removed from the courtroom. Then, about 20 minutes later, he's brought back in to be sentenced for his newly acquired contempt of court charge.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Martinez, since you have informed me that I am in contempt of court and that you are in fact in charge of this courtroom, I'm
Which
going
you're
to go ahead
not.
and sentence you today to direct contempt of court. I will give you an opportunity to apologize if you choose to do so and behave in a manner that I consider appropriate for a courtroom. Would you like to do that today, Mr. Martinez?
What would I be
It is a
apologizing?
yes or a no question.
What would I be apologizing
For
for?
your direct contempt of court,
She
sir.
told you.
All I was asking was legal questions, ma'am.
No, you're
I
not.
disagree, sir. I'm going to ask you the question one more time. Did you wish to apologize and proceed in a...
This guy knows what he did. He broke a law that he disagrees with. I understand a lot of people go through that, but a courtroom is not the place to change the law. That has to be done before the local, whatever the jurisdiction's legislature is. And I doubt he's going to get a lot of support to change laws regarding driver's licenses.
manner I consider appropriate in this courtroom or not. Okay, direct contempt, I'm going to sentence him to 15 days in jail. Okay, thank you.
The Sixth Amendment grants me that.
Sir, I would suggest you stop speaking now.
Martinez would be jailed for 15
Grants you
days
what
for contempt of
exactly?
court. His original charge of driving without a license was later dismissed.
Okay, so the Sixth Amendment in the Bill of Rights refers to your right to trial by a jury of your peers, speedy public trial, your right to legal counsel, your right to confront your witnesses and gather witnesses for your defense. Let me double check and see if there's any more to it. If I'm missing something, that's most of it. I'm trying to figure out what exactly he's referring to. Let's see. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and the district in which the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been... Okay, so I guess he's talking about and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. I'm guessing he wants driving without a license, broken down Barney style even further than it already is. I guess that is subject to interpretation, based on how thoroughly explained you want the charges against you to be, but I guess in the judge's place, I would say if you don't understand it, but if I can't explain it to you better than that, would you like the court to appoint you an attorney to explain it to you very slowly? I'd say that's the next step. If you don't understand the charges as I'm explaining them to you here and now, then I'm not going to let you. Then you shouldn't be allowed to represent himself. And the judge can refuse to allow a defendant to represent themselves if they don't think they're making that decision of sound mind, which, if this guy's not understanding a charge as simple as driving without a license, I'd say he should have an attorney to represent him and explain it to him to his heart's content. But again, like I said earlier, you have the right to an attorney. Always use it to your advantage when you can.
Next, we go to the Clark County Superior Court in Vancouver, Washington, for the sentencing of Matthew Hastings. He's been convicted of 4 counts of attempted murder and 2 counts of second-degree assault. Hastings shot and seriously wounded Corporal Chris LeBlanc during a 20-hour standoff with Vancouver police.
Oh boy.
The trial judge is John Woolley, and the maximum sentence is 120 years behind bars. At first, things appear to be civil.
Mr. Hastings.
So we got a cop killer.
No, Your Honor.
But then, things quickly take a turn.
Mr. Hastings, did you graduate from high school, sir?
No.
Let me give you a little
Relevance.
thumbnail sketch of the American system of government. Mr. Hastings, don't press your luck with me, son. Don't press your luck
Or
with
what? You gonna sentence me? That what you gonna do?
You know what, Mr. Hastings? I am.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
I don't really want to care why. Just get on with
Just
the
shut your damn mouth, sir.
Oh, I'm not gonna shut my mouth.
Next time, I'm gonna have you gagged.
You're gonna be gagged, huh?
You're right, I am.
Have me gagged.
Mr. Hastings, based upon your conduct in this court, your conduct in the community, I am accepting the state's recommendation.
Good. Thank you. I'll take another.
Mr. Hastings is in contempt of court at this point, Counselor. May I see the attorneys back in chambers for a moment, please?
Perhaps with the judge out of the room, Hastings would cool off a bit.
I mean, I get it, this guy's a cop killer, but it kind of seems like the judge started that. That could have been avoided. I mean, just sentence the guy and be done with him and move on.
But he's not through, because he's just noticed a few of his arresting officers in the back of the courtroom. Now,
boy.
they're in Hastings' crosshairs.
Piece of You're a failure. And your little partner allegedly got shot.
A court officer steps over in case things escalate.
Oh, you wanted to convict me. Bitch. You'll want me out there on the streets.
You are
For a few
convicted,
minutes,
aren't
Judge
you?
Woolley returns to the courtroom.
For the record, Mr. Hastings, I see no reason not to stick with the decision I made.
Absolutely. I'm thankful for that, Your Honor. That's great.
You're wasting your time with me now, Mr. Hastings. I know how to handle a guy like you. The only thing I can say to you on behalf of all the citizens of this community, bye-bye.
Thank you. That's great. Is that it? 2 words? Bye-bye?
Try to push my button, son? These police officers have been told by me that they're not to react.
Oh, really?
Mr. Buckley, you
want me to make these police rap? Is that what you're saying?
Your Honor. Is that what you want? Put Mr. Hastings back in his chair until we are concluded.
Or?
Hold on.
Don't call my bluff.
You're really helping your case in front of the Court of Appeals. They're going to see this entire record, sir.
Hey, they're going to see your entire record, too. They're going to see how you're running your mouth, Your Honor. Bye-bye. We know how to handle kids like you, son. Okay. Yeah, they're going to see that, too. Remember, you're on record just like me. Pops.
He's not wrong.
And believe it or not, on this issue, Hastings was right.
Oh,
After
boy.
this incident and a few others like it, Judge Woolley was reprimanded for his conduct by a state commission. But that didn't change Hastings' fate. He still
Yep.
got the maximum sentence, and he's currently serving 120 years in a state prison.
Yeah, it is the judge's job to be more professional than that and not get suckered into a back and forth like that. Um, that whole thing could have been avoided if he just stuck to saying what he has to say, not just what he wants to say. And yeah, there's a lot of things you'd want to say to a guy like that, but it's sometimes better just not to say them. And case in point.
We're at a bond hearing at the Miami-Dade Circuit Court in Florida.
Oh, this girl looks happy to be here.
Shomat attends to the next defendant, who's charged with possession of drugs.
Who holds their hands like that? Why?
Charged with possession of Xanax, B-A-R-S. I don't know what that is. What is that?
Xanax bars.
I think she's high.
Xanax bars.
She's on something.
So, are you working?
Yes,
How much money are you making a week, approximately?
approximately about $200 a week.
Okay, and do you own any property of value? A house, a car, bank account, significant amounts of jewelry?
Yes,
What do you own?
I own a lot of jewelry, alright.
No, not plastic jewelry like gemstone, silver, and gold jewelry. Not that cheap plastic knockoff stuff you probably have.
As well as
Go ahead.
a car.
Well,
Okay,
how much
car.
would you say your jewelry is worth? It's not a joke, you know. We are not in a club now.
Okay, but if you
Hey,
know,
well,
kind
you
of,
see,
you know, but
we are not in a club. Be serious about it.
She's on some club drugs.
I see you're serious, all right.
you just made me laugh. I apologize.
It's all right. How much is your jewelry worth?
It's worth a lot of money.
Like what?
Like Rick Ross.
Huh?
What?
It's worth
Ma'am,
money.
have you had any kind of drugs in the last 24 hours?
Definitely.
Actually, no.
Actually, no.
Liar.
I'll make it easy for the court, respectfully.
She's not under oath.
I'm going to appoint you because you own a lot of substantial amounts of jewelry. You can go and sell your jewelry for a private attorney. What is the standard bond?
It's to be,
Ain't gonna be no PTS.
okay, 5,000 on count one, and then the rest
Property.
of the ROR.
The judge is now determining the amount of Soto's bond.
Count one would be 5,000 per hour cost found. Count two would be ROR.
Release on
So you're
reconnaissance.
working on count 2 through 26.
Okay.
And refer to Division 51.
Recognize it. I said that wrong, sorry.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Come back, man. Come back.
Uh-oh.
Come back.
Oh, boy.
Count one would be 10,000.
Oh. Mm-mm.
I am serious. Adios.
Judge ain't joking. He ain't joking
The
around.
reaction of others in the court.
Oh, and she flipped him
Soto
off.
just cursed at the judge and then gave him the finger.
Don't flip the judge off. Never flip off the judge. You done?
I believe I heard you saying to... I believe you... Did you say...
She doing this thing with her neck.
Did you say that?
Yes, sir. I did.
Oh, you did say that?
I'm not
I
gonna
find you in direct criminal contempt. 30 days in the county jail.
Soto sentenced to 30 days in the county jail.
Yeah, not smiling anymore.
$5,000 2 days later, and the sentence revoked 4 days later when she apologizes to the judge.
My behavior was very irrational, and I apologize not only to the court and you,
Guess
but
she's
to my
sobered up.
family.
Don't cry. Don't cry. I'm not a monster. I know I make you laugh, but it's all right. Don't cry. I'm not a monster. Go ahead, tell me.
And I normally don't act like that. So,
Let me ask you a third question. Did you use Xanax? Did you take any Xanax Sunday?
yes, I did.
How many?
2.
Wait, they were in court on a Sunday?
After that, her drug charges are dropped when she successfully completes a court-ordered drug program. Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam.
Okay, so that was interesting. I'm surprised they didn't give her a chance to like sober up before coming to her arraignment hearing. Maybe she would have taken it a bit more seriously if that was the case. Let's move on to another one. Sovereign citizens. Okay, so let me get this ad out of the way.
I saw you lying dead.
Okay, so for those who don't know what sovereign citizens are, they're essentially it's kind of a lazy form of anarchy. They believe they're exempt from the laws as we know them. Well, not all the laws. They believe they have all the rights and privileges of a normal citizen, but without the responsibility of having to follow any local, state, or federal laws. You'll hear a lot of buzzwords and legal language they misuse a lot. Most of them are just bums trying to weasel their way out of traffic tickets. But they can be dangerous. There have been a few sovereign citizens that have gone to the extreme. Example, Timothy McVeigh has been considered a sovereign citizen by many. The man who bombed the Oklahoma City building. He technically falls in that category. There's a variety of different types of sovereign citizens. Some of them are more dangerous than others, but I imagine a lot of these they can also be considered people who don't know when to shut up. So let's watch.
We're in Placerville, California, for the arraignment of 39-year-old Asher Edwards.
Hello, Judge.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Edwards' demeanor
Cordial.
may seem pleasant, but just a few days earlier, his alleged behavior was anything but. He was charged with making terrorist threats, assault with a deadly weapon, and obstructing peace officers after a domestic disturbance escalated into a two-day police standoff.
Yeah, seems like a great guy.
Mr. Edwards, this is the time and place set for your arraignment. Do you consent to have an arraignment by video conference?
Sir, is this an Maritime Admiralty Law courtroom that we're processing me through? No.
Do you see the ocean or any ships? This is something they always resort to, is they believe the U.S. government and all the local and state governments under it are all illegitimate and are therefore just like an international court under, or a corporate court under maritime law or something crazy like that. No court in the country has ever recognized any of the nonsense that sovereign citizens believe. Like, if you sincerely believe any of this nonsense, you need to get help.
No, it's not.
Edwards considers himself a sovereign citizen who lives as a free man, as they like to say, under common law as established by the Founding Fathers.
I'm a free man living on the land. Okay, you still have to follow the law.
Maritime Admiralty law that he's referencing is the law of the sea and international commerce, a body of law that sovereign citizens believe to be the foundation of the country's modern legal system, which they reject.
This is not a Maritime Admiralty Law courtroom.
Nope.
I believe so.
No.
Absolutely, it is. All courtrooms in this country are Maritime Admiralty Law courtrooms that process people, aren't they?
I don't see your ship, Captain.
No, sir.
That's false information. Well, either way, this courtroom is trying to process me as state property. You see this fictitious name statement? Asher Edwards, spelled in all capital
Here we are with the semantics.
letters. This is not my name.
Then to
Edwards is
whom am
referring
I
to
speaking to?
another sovereign belief that beginning at birth, one is issued a government identity, meaning one's name is spelled in all capital letters, such as on a birth certificate or social security card, and that doesn't represent one's true or free self.
Oh my
This
lord.
name was issued to me without my consent, and you cannot legally process me
So was your actual name that your parents gave you at birth?
through this courtroom with this without this name in all capital letters that was issued without my consent. My name is spelled Asher Edwards, first capital, all lowercase, Edwards, first capital, all lowercase, and this is the birth name given to me by my parents,
Without your consent.
protected by the Constitution of the United States.
My name was given to me without my consent too. Why couldn't I be a Maximilian?
Even as Edwards grows louder and more animated, the judge appears to take
Mom and Dad, if you ever see this, I'm just kidding. I like my name. Thank you very much.
it all in stride and even allows the defendant to finish his rant.
Therefore, it is illegal for you to process me through this courtroom, so you guys have to figure out something else to do with it.
But this judge is all
Not gonna
business,
work.
So figuring out something else to do with Edwards is not in his plans.
The court will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Will show time is not waived. We'll set this matter for pre-preliminary.
Not guilty's pretty much the default plea, unless they say something besides that, like guilty or no contest. If they want to ramble like this clown is, not guilty is what's automatically going to be put in.
Hearing within the statutory period.
Innocent till proven guilty.
And I would like to see the gun. It said I had a gun. I've never had a gun.
As Edwards continues his rant about the alleged gun,
I think that's something that'll be established or at trial. The arraignment's not where you argue the facts of the case. That's just where they say, this is what you're charged with. How do you plea? Do you say you did or you didn't do it? I did do it. I didn't do it. If you say I didn't do it, then they'll set a trial date. If you say you did do it, then they'll go ahead and get ready to move on to sentencing. That's basically all that's happening here. All he needs is, no, I didn't do this, I didn't have a gun, the gun I needed to do it, and then they'll be like, okay, well, we'll judge those facts at trial in front of a jury.
the judge reaches for his own weapon of choice, the mute button.
They're lying.
Do not speak while I am speaking, sir.
Edwards continues to plead his case, but to no avail.
Set bail in the amount of
Still going.
$72,500.
Okay.
Next matter.
And shave that beard.
Edwards would later be found guilty of all the charges and sentenced to 1 year in prison.
Okay.
Next, we go to a bond hearing in Broward County. Judge John Hurley presiding.
Oh God, yes.
The defendant
I have seen some of these before, I'll admit. John Hurley, he's great. You'll see why in a minute.
is David Hall, a sovereign citizen who
Oh boy.
basically believes that certain laws don't apply to him.
Mr. Hall has declined the services of the public defender, Your Honor.
Of course he
Hall is
did.
here for driving under the influence and driving with a
Is that
suspended
just the
license.
lighting? Cause his hair looks gray in the picture, in the video.
As soon as the judge attempts to read the charges, Hall begins interrupting.
Sir, I haven't said for the court how I'm appearing today, sir. I'm not asking you yet. Just
Opaque? Is that how you're appearing?
Turns out Hall
Or is this where you do a magic trick? You just snap your fingers and then you appear in the court in front of the judge? That's how I'm appearing.
is currently out on bond for 2 previous
Magician
charges
sovereign
of
citizen.
driving with a suspended license. But that's not going to stop him from trying to make his case.
Sir, today I'm appearing as the agent and settler for David Hall.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Could you get Mr. Hall for me then, sir? Where is he?
I go by that name, sir. My name sounds exactly like the defendant's, and I'm here to settle that matter today.
So are you and David Hall one and the same person?
I'm not a person, I'm an individual. David Hall is a person. I am a private individual.
Hall's
They do walk among us. Aliens.
Legalese is unconventional, to say the least, but the judge allows him to continue.
May I say something else for the record, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
I appear here today as the settler agent, not the person, but the individual. And I don't think I should. You understand the difference between a person and an individual.
And you're the individual, but you're not the person. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
I'm going to write that down.
Let's just get the whole laundry list here.
Mind trick and begins to turn the tables.
I am not a person.
The settler, the agent, the individual, and maybe even the person.
Just get the whole laundry list out of the way.
Has been charged with DUI. So today, the court's going to set the settler, the agent, the individual's bond, and even the person's bond today at $10,000 because the settler, the agent, the individual, and the person continues to drive without a driver's license.
Hall's new bond is $10,000, but because this charge is a violation of his original bond, all versions of David Hall must remain in jail unless he can come
You already violated bond, so they're not going to give him bond again.
The settler, the agent, the individual, and even the person, David Hall, not to be able to be released from the Broward County Jail until further notice of the court.
So we got 4 people. We're going to need a bigger cell.
So,
may I post bond, sir?
He just said no.
Shirley's turn to have some fun.
Is there any other?
He just said no.
Settler, the agent, the individual, or are you
To whom am I speaking now?
Sir, I'm asking.
Look at this. This guy to his left looks like he's had enough. Like, oh God, shut up, dude. I'm gonna shank you in the shower later if you don't shut up.
Appearing before you today, the opportunity.
Speaking on behalf of right now.
Sir, I don't understand that question. I believe that you're trying to confuse me now. I'm not the person, sir.
Like you were?
See the person, David Hall. Tell him he's not going to jail either, all right? Have a nice day. Thank you.
All 4 of you are going to be sharing a jail with yourself. Oh my gosh, that ponytail looks pathetic.
Next, we're at the Cheshire County Courthouse in Keene, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Court is currently in recess, but there is trouble brewing in the gallery.
Take the hat off or step outside.
The judge asked this man, Bo Davis, to remove his hat or leave. Otherwise, he could be charged with contempt of court. But Davis refuses.
So I have force threatened upon me if I were to wear a hat.
Davis and some others seated around him are associated with the New Hampshire...
Judges are allowed to set rules of conduct for their own courtroom if they want you to remove, within reason, but if they want you to remove a hat, that's a reasonable request. It's just respectful.
...based anti-government movement.
But I'm guessing these people don't know the meaning of respect.
We're here to support a fellow member who's the defendant in a, quote, right to travel case that's in recess.
Oh my gosh.
The so-called sovereign citizen.
Oh yes, one of the buzz phrases I was talking about earlier that you'll hear these guys say a lot, more on traffic stops than in court. I am not driving, I am traveling. When they try to use that line, what they're using a 19th century definition of the word driving from one of the original editions of Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law Dictionary, it's just a legal reference material that that you'll see used in law schools and courts and legal firms. That's all it is. It's a reference material, like a dictionary or an encyclopedia. It is not the written law. It is not a code. It is not a statute. It's just used for reference material. At the time the first editions of the Law Dictionary were written, the word driving normally referred to somebody driving like a stagecoach, a wagon, a locomotive, a team of horses, and normally these were commercial activities. These were how people made a living, was by driving these things. Then you fast forward a few decades and the automobile becomes a mainstream means of conveyance for normal people going about their day, conducting personal business, and the word driving came to refer to that as well as operating an automobile. You do have the right to travel. Absolutely, that is a constitutionally protected right. What you don't really, that doesn't necessarily mean you have the right to operate a 2-ton death machine moving at 60 miles an hour without knowing what you're doing. Because, I mean, a car can be dangerous in the wrong hands. So that's why we license people to drive. I mean, you're allowed to travel, you're allowed to walk, you're allowed to take a cab, a bus, ride a bike. You got all these means of conveyances that don't involve operating a car. And you are absolutely allowed to do any of them. But sovereign citizens, they don't seem to understand that as times, society, civilization, and technology change, so do the words we use and the meaning and context we use them in. So that's what that's usually about.
Claim to be pushing back against what they consider overreach in the criminal justice system, and they're not afraid to get vocal about it.
I think you misunderstood. It's the judge's authority when he comes back. If at that point he says he's in contempt, then you have the authority.
Would not have been an issue. Your choice is take the hat off. I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I can't. You're making threats.
After more back and forth,
Just
with
telling
Davis
you to take a
and
hat
relentless
off.
commentary from others in the gallery,
What's the matter with you guys, huh?
the bailiff is finally done discussing the matter.
Stand up, please.
He'll take it off, he'll take a scalp with it, it's glued to his head.
Sir, treat others as you would wish to place. I'm being nice. Or I'm not going to assist in my own arrest. I don't want you should take your hands off the hand. Please stand up.
Passive resistance is still resistance. What I mean by passive resistance is you're not actively fighting the officer trying to arrest you. You're just going limp, basically, to make his job even harder.
A second bailiff comes to help escort Davis out, but again he refuses to stand.
I'm not going to assist in my own arrest. I'm not asking you to assist. Please do not hurt him.
Instead of dragging Davis out of the courtroom, the bailiffs use a wheelchair.
Guess his legs don't work.
As Davis is wheeled out, the group continues to insult the bailiffs.
Ever considered like a real job? One where you don't use violence against people?
Despite their protest,
Oh wow, you put him in a chair. That's so violent.
the court has authority to make rules about conduct in the courtroom. So a short time later, the judge returned to the courtroom and sentenced Bo Davis to 5 days in jail for contempt of court.
I didn't know you were going to take my picture. I got a haircut.
Good one. I'm glad you can make jokes.
Meet the man in the fur cap.
Oh, boy.
21-year-old Robert Peterson. He's the person filming this
I've seen this
footage.
kid before.
Enters the Kootenai County Courthouse in Idaho.
You can tell the narrator had trouble saying that.
Peterson is a hearing for a minor traffic infraction, riding his bicycle at night without a light.
Okay.
But from the moment he steps inside the door, it's clear this won't be a typical security.
That sounds like something he'd normally get a warning for, but as you're about to hear this kid, you'll understand that he probably mouthed off to the officer that was telling him, "Hey, people can't see you, you'll get hurt." And then the officer's like, "Okay, fine, you want to be a jerk about it, I'll give you a citation. I was going to give you a warning, but now I'll give you a citation since you want to press your luck."
Security check.
And I'd just like to know where your warrant is.
I don't believe it's clearly posted on the entry to the building.
What? Clearly posted that I have to forfeit my right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure?
What's unreasonable about going through a metal detector to enter a courthouse. Unreasonable is kind of a subjective term in the Fourth Amendment. It's been debated for over a century. Most Fourth Amendment cases are on the basis of what we as a society determine to be unreasonable, and most people don't think it's unreasonable to be checked for weapons when you go into a courthouse where there might be some tensions running high and you don't want somebody popping off and doing something they're going to regret.
Yeah, every person is. I'm not a person.
Like even in the Old West, I mean, people would drop their guns off outside the courtroom before going in, so you wouldn't have a verdict delivered that somebody didn't agree with, and a gun battle popping off in the courtroom.
I'm a man.
And more.
Are you though?
More specifically, a free man. Peterson considers himself a sovereign citizen.
I'm a man, baby.
And the court has already confirmed that. I'm here for one purpose. All right.
You can submit or you can leave.
That's
You're
fine.
free to go.
I mean,
You're always free to go. Well, no, he's got a court date. I take that back. You're free to go and risk a bench warrant. I imagine you want to get this resolved instead.
Yeah, but you will be charged a bill.
Charged a bill? Rather than escalating the situation,
Really?
one of the bailiffs decides to play along.
You will be served a bill. I don't have any weapons.
Send me the bill, man.
I ain't come here to raise a ruckus.
Oh yeah, you did.
After clearing security, Peterson finds a seat at the rear of the courtroom and continues filming.
So there are no cameras in the court.
Excuse me?
There are no cameras in the courtroom.
Yeah, there is.
No, you have to put that away.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Under what authority?
There's you have to have a
Judge.
court order from a judge before you can have a camera in the courtroom.
Okay, well, I'm gonna capture.
The reason for this is there's some people and they're handling business they don't want to be put on the internet. There's a reason. See, everywhere you go, there's a reasonable expectation of privacy that changes, it fluctuates depending on where you are. Now, in the privacy of your own home, that's the highest reasonable expectation of privacy you can expect. If you're behind the podium at a press conference, that's probably the least reasonable expectation of privacy you can expect. But it's still there, just not anywhere near as high as what the privacy you can expect in your own home. These other people in the courtroom, they still have a reasonable expectation of privacy. They came down to the courthouse to handle whatever legal matter they're there for. They didn't come down there to be filmed by some punk and have their face plastered all over the internet and have people, like, maybe their employers being like, what were you doing in court? What, you know, it's... And there's already security cameras in there. There's nothing he can be recording in there that's not going to be public record. I mean, all the courtrooms, they have security footage. You have a clerk recording everything that's said. So yeah, this, whatever he's trying to do, it's not necessary, and it goes against the reasonable expectation of privacy that everybody in that courtroom has.
No, you can't.
This on video.
You gotta turn it off.
It's for both of our protection.
Well, you have to.
No, it's not.
No, thank you.
Enter bailiff number 2.
Shut the camera off now.
No, thank you. I do not consent to you touching me or seizing my property, so you need to back up.
Nobody cares.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm holding you accountable because you're about to overstep your bounds.
Uh-huh.
The bailiffs then decide to clear the courtroom and question Peterson directly.
Oh, boy.
What's your first and last name?
I don't have a last name.
You don't have a last name?
No.
Really?
What's your first name?
I don't have a first name either. I've got a name. My name is Robert. You can call me Robert.
Are you your own species, Robert?
As you can see, this bailiff keeps his sense of humor about the situation.
What are you?
I'm a man.
You're human?
I'm a man, yes.
Are you sure about that?
Can I see your Idaho?
You sound like a boy.
No, I don't have one.
You don't have one?
My person does, but I don't.
With the situation seemingly
Oh boy. Another sovereign citizen buzzword or legal view is they believe that they are an individual, a human, completely separate from a person. The person they believe is, or straw man as they call it, is the person who exists on paper with their name, that whose name is on their birth certificate, their social security card, their driver's license. Basically, them as a person only exists on paper. Them as an individual is the living human that's flesh and blood, which it's just semantics they're arguing, thinking that's ever going to work in their favor, which it never does.
diffused, the bailiffs usher everyone back into the courtroom. Well, except for one person.
Everyone without a camera, please return to the courtroom.
Excuse me. You're blocking my freedom of movement.
I am.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
You're free to go the other way.
You just admitted to me that you're violating my rights.
No, I'm not.
You're free to move in any direction that's not in the direction of the courtroom door.
You can't come in with the camera.
Well, you're violating my rights. And this is also freedom of the
People out
press.
from behind you.
This is also freedom of the press. I mean, I don't...
Really? What newspaper, magazine, journal, or who's your publisher? You know, where are your press credentials? These people are not press. It's just some punk with a camera. They have a very broad definition of the word press that nobody else in the country agrees with.
I don't know what the hell law book you're reading, man. But it...
I mean, if a reporter walks up to me and tries to interview me, that's what I call press. I don't call some kid following me around with a camera the press.
doesn't apply to me. Why are you worried about cameras? Because you want to do something wrong? Because you want to do something wrong? Because if it's against the rules, that means it's because somebody intends on wronging somebody else. Because they're afraid of being held accountable. P. Barnes.
It's a nice speech, but you're still not coming in.
Well, please step aside. I'm going in.
Nope.
No, you're not going in.
Don't touch
Nope.
me.
You're not going in, sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me.
Step back.
And you're using
That was like the calmest tasing I've ever seen.
Step back.
After Peterson refuses to step
Go
back,
Barnes.
Chief Bailiff Pete Barnes fires his taser.
And you're using
Pete Barnes, if you're watching this, you're awesome.
Stop, please. I'm not doing anything wrong. Hey, you know what? You guys are really overstepping your bounds right now.
Put the cuffs on him.
Put the cuffs on. What are you arresting me for?
The answer to that question? Peterson's charged with
Battery.
3 counts of battery and 1 count of contempt of court.
Yeah, when he tried to put his hands on the bailiffs and push them out of his way, that's battery. You can't do that.
He would later enter an Alford plea, meaning he didn't admit to committing a crime, but acknowledged there was likely enough evidence to convict him. Jail time was waived.
Okay, I'll admit that's a plea I've never heard of. At least not in the legal systems I've studied. I mean, I'm not from Idaho, so I don't know what their plea terms are. The ones I've heard of, there's the 2 obvious ones, guilty and not guilty. The third one I've heard of, maybe this is the equivalent of that, is no contest. There's a Latin word for it, nolo contende. I don't know. It means no contest. Basically, you're not admitting guilt, but you're just going to pay the fine or do the sentence just to get it over with and move on. It's not an admission of guilt, and it's not going to go on your record as such. It's just like, I'm not saying I did it, but I'll just pay the fine instead of fighting this. This sound... What was it called again? Alford plea. I kind of want to look that up now. What was it? How does it say it again? Alford. A-F-A-L-F-O-R. Plea. Guilty plea. Okay, so this is still a guilty plea. Or a... does not admit to the criminal... Okay, never mind. Okay, so the defendant in a criminal case does not admit to the criminal act and asserts innocence. So you're not admitting guilt. The defendant admits that the evidence presented by the prosecution would be likely to persuade the judge or jury to find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So you're not admitting guilt, but you believe that the evidence is sufficient to prove you guilty, to meet the burden of proof to find you guilty. I don't think that's the same case for no contest. Because no contest doesn't really matter what the evidence is. You're not going to go to trial with a no contest plea anyway. You're just saying, I'm not admitting guilt, but just go and give me the sentence so I can get it out of the way. It sounds like they basically lead in the same direction, though.
Plea, meaning he didn't admit to committing a
different
crime,
wording.
but acknowledged there was likely
I'm
enough
not sure.
evidence to convict him. Jail time was waived as part of the plea deal, and he was ordered to pay a fine for his original charge of riding a bike at night without a light.
It's probably a small fine.
Now to Louisville, Kentucky,
Keisha.
and the Jefferson County District Court. An arraignment hearing is underway for 18-year-old Keisha Johnson, who's charged with possession of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and tampering with physical evidence.
Come on up here, ma'am.
I'll let you stand here.
When called upon, Johnson decides to address the judge, Sean Delahan.
I know some sovereign citizens believe that if they go past the bar, which is that dividing line between the gallery and the part of the courtroom where everything happens, they believe if they pass that bar, they're consenting to fall under the laws that are enforced beyond that bar. So I think that's what she's trying to do here, thinking as long as I don't pass the bar, I cannot be held under the law. Like, no, sweetheart, that's not how it works. The gallery is held to the same laws as the people that are past the bar.
From the back of the court.
Yeah.
No, stand at this podium.
Hold on. Yeah, this right here, that's the bar. And most courtrooms are laid out like this. You got the gallery in the very back, you got the bar, you got the prosecution and the defense counsel tables. I don't think not all courts have a podium. I don't think all courts have a podium. But you'll have the judge back over here. I'm guessing that's the clerk off to the side. I'm guessing the witness box is in the jury panel or somewhere off in this direction. I don't know. You can't see the whole courtroom, but hey, P. Gallagher 9952, how's it going? Thanks for following. But yeah, most courtrooms you have the judge at the very back. Then you'll have the two counsel tables, prosecution and defense. You'll have the clerk who's recording everything. Then you'll have the witness stand in the jury box on the opposite side somewhere. Then between all that and the gallery, which is where all the spectators sit, you'll have what's called the bar. So yeah, this bar is what separates the people who are not involved in the legal process and everything that is going on. So, Well, let's get back to the video. I've rambled long enough.
We can't record your back.
You guys operating under?
The laws of the state of Kentucky.
Oh, yes. As in like amity law?
Come up here and stand at this podium. I have to get you on the record so that we can see you with your argument.
Okay, well.
Yeah, it's not a question of whether you're agreeing with the law or not. You got to be up where the people who are recording, like the clerk, can hear what you're saying. And I don't think the clerk can hear you way back there.
On the record, I reserve my right before crossing this bench.
Johnson's refusing to cooperate because she's part of a sovereign citizens movement, which rejects institutions and believe they aren't bound by the country's laws.
Well,
But they are.
I really don't want to create some big scene. Hang on a second.
She does.
I do not want to lock you up.
Gotta get that clout.
You may very well have to.
That legal
Come
clout.
up here and stand at this podium. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. You have to come up here and stand at this podium.
As the bizarre scene plays out, there's another disruption in the back of the courtroom when a bailiff tells 36-year-old Jenna Vondran to stop filming on her cell phone.
Show me the law. Show me the law.
In Kentucky, judges are given broad discretion on allowing filming in their courtrooms.
This is my property. Show me the law.
All right.
Show me the law.
Chris?
Show me the law.
Chris?
Show me the law.
Go ahead and lock her up. Go ahead and take her into custody.
Said show her the law. There you go.
Looks down and presses his panic button to summon additional deputies to the courtroom.
Yeah, we're watching court cam tonight. Just kind of doing a general reaction. And like I was saying earlier, before you joined, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not trying to give anybody legal advice. I'm just reacting based on what I know with my criminal justice degree. So I have a basic knowledge, but very limited. And yeah, so I know what's going on now is this lady in the back of the courtroom. She's making a disturbance. So, and you're welcome.
Sit over there.
Ooh, but they do.
Yeah, I'm not finished with her yet.
Okay, back to business.
All right.
Moving on.
Quick reset. The original defendant, Keisha Johnson, finally comes forward to the podium.
See, that wasn't so bad.
Charged with possession of marijuana, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
I don't understand any of that.
All right. Well.
Would you like an attorney instead of representing yourself to explain that to you? I don't know. These people, this is the second person I've seen this evening who's representing themselves, then proceeds to get up to the podium and say, nope, I don't understand any of this. Why didn't you ask for an attorney? You have the right to one, use it.
Well, you're charged with illegally possessing marijuana. You are...
While the judge's attention is back with Johnson,
Show me the law. Show me the law.
Still trying to get control of Vondran, the woman with the cell phone.
I don't understand any of those charges.
Well, there's not a whole lot more.
I think the smart thing at this point would be just say, then I'm going to assign you an attorney that can represent you and explain them to you. We don't have time for this.
There's not a whole lot more I can do to try to explain to you.
When
you were caught with drugs.
Trying to play clueless doesn't work, Johnson goes back on the offensive.
Let's start here. Can you guys prove jurisdiction? Prove jurisdiction, because I come in under common law. Prove your jurisdiction, that you have jurisdiction.
There is a motion. There are motions that can be filed with the court that where you ask the court to prove if they have jurisdiction over the matter. Usually this is a civil case thing, where a plaintiff will file a lawsuit petition. The defendant, they'll get served with that lawsuit under the court that it was filed under. Then they'll one of the things that the defense can do, well, the plaintiff can do this too if things aren't going their way later on or for whatever reason. They can say, hold on, I think this has to be settled in a different court. I'm going to file a motion for the court to establish that they have jurisdiction over this matter. I'm sure this woman doesn't know how to do that properly. Usually that's something done by an attorney. And in this case, well, it's as simple as you were caught in possession of a controlled substance in the jurisdiction over which this court presides. There, jurisdiction proven. But this isn't the way to do that, and let's see how she drags this out.
Over me. Prove jurisdiction. A court cannot proceed until you guys prove jurisdiction. Show me your jurisdiction. Show me your law.
All right. There are all of our laws.
I wonder if her and the camera girl know each other.
Laws are codified in the Kentucky Revised Statute.
Show me jurisdiction. Show me the law.
Okay, find you in contempt.
There you go.
Okay, that's
just give her the whole logbook.
Okay, so what else? And now there's this.
It's actually a pretty. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Back in high school, I saw a Texas statute book. I think it was about that thick. I was taking a elective on Intro to Criminal Justice back in high school. We had the Texas statute book as our textbook. We were only using the penal code, but it had all the Texas statutes. I think it was about that thick. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe Kentucky's book's a little thinner.
A simple way for me to prove jurisdiction to you. I'm gonna ask the deputy to go ahead and take you into custody.
Under what charges?
Under
what charges?
You are disrupting my court.
Whoops.
We're gonna pass her case to tomorrow.
I think at this point he could assign her an attorney. Say she's not of sound mind to represent herself, so I'm gonna bring her back tomorrow with an attorney representing her, who's gonna explain the charges and the jurisdiction of the court to her.
Keisha Johnson's arrested and charged with contempt of court.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to the next day, and she's about to face a new judge.
Okay.
Johnson, 56.
This time, Johnson's represented by an attorney.
I don't know how familiar you are with this, but this
I'm
case.
familiar. Podium flipper.
Okay.
I heard a little bit about it from yesterday. All right, so this is Miss Johnson. We'll note that she's in custody today. She's brought over and present.
And she'd like to make a statement to the court.
I had time to think about it, and I believe and I've learned that I need to represent myself in a respectful manner while in front of the judge.
Okay, so
I think a lot of defense attorneys will encourage clients that have misbehaved to do this. It just portrays them in a better light than what they've presented themselves in up to this point, and it could work better in their favor. So she's probably doing this because the attorney convinced her to.
obviously that behavior will not be tolerated. That's why you ended up where you are.
Keisha Johnson's found guilty of contempt of court and is released from jail after serving 1 day.
See?
On her original
Yeah, an apology can get your sentence reduced.
charges, 2 were dropped, but she's found guilty of possession of marijuana, fined $185.
Okay.
As for Jenna Vondran, who was arrested after filming in the courtroom,
all right, go ahead and lock her up.
So
she's found guilty of disorderly conduct and serves 1 day in jail. Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam.
Okay, so that's our sovereign citizens. Let's see who else we can get here. How about let's do disrespectful defendants. So these might be funny.
So I'm sure you saw the story earlier this week of Allison Williams, the sideline reporter for ESPN, who lost her.
This is the
Yeah, sorry guys, I can't get rid of the ads.
arraignment of 20-year-old Spencer Allen Boston. At a traffic stop 2 months earlier, Boston received citations for speeding and simple possession of marijuana.
I love that. Gotta love that smile.
Yes, sir. I think it's very unfair, the marijuana law here.
Here we go again, trying to argue legislation in the courtroom. You're in the wrong branch of government, brother. This is an argument to have before the legislature. You're in a judicial court. So this isn't going to work.
I think we the people deserve better because marijuana is a very harmless drug, and it's been around for ages, since the 80s and 90s.
I've heard that baloney all my life, so don't go any further on that.
Yes, sir.
Probably don't have to call it baloney. I mean, this is an argument that I think needs to be had, but it needs to be had in the right place, and in a courtroom's not the place. He could just say, "Sir, this is not the place to debate that. It's just a question of the law on the books and whether or not that are currently on the books and whether or not you violated them."
I don't know whether it's good or bad. All I know is Tennessee still has it against the law. I swore to uphold the laws, and I have to uphold the laws as a judge. It probably is unfair, but I can't change it. You've got to go see the legislature to get that changed. More if it's trial day.
Yeah, we can do that.
That'd be fun. Then you make another speech.
As the judge works with court employees to schedule a trial date,
May 7th.
Boston decides to take action.
Oh.
As he pulls out what appears to be...
Oh.
No one seems to notice until, shockingly...
Blaze it, man!
And this time it's noticed immediately.
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Boston may have finally...
I will say this, whether you agree with marijuana laws or not, don't smoke inside. Everybody's got, whether it's tobacco or weed, don't smoke inside, because then everybody has to smell that and it's going to linger. Take it outside. That's my main stance on weed, is I just don't want my house or my car smelling like that. And that's why I'm not going to partake. I just, the smell it leaves behind, and that, even if weed was legal, this is just flat out disrespectful.
Pleaded his case.
We the people deserve better.
But he's immediately taken away by the court officer.
Yep.
And Judge Barry gets the final word.
Oh, man, now we all gotta smell that.
Slapping Boston with a disorderly conduct charge, as well as another charge.
Yeah, then the bailiff's like, dang it, now all these poor people have to smell that. Why am I hungry all of a sudden?
Of possession. The judge also holds him in contempt of court, and Boston is forced to spend 10 days in jail.
Oh my gosh.
18-year-old Donta Wright writes in court today to receive his sentence for the shooting death of high school student Jordan Klee. He's pled guilty to armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, a felony firearm violation, and second-degree murder.
So, I'm guessing here the original charge would have been first-degree or premeditated murder. That was what they were going to take him to trial for. In most states, first-degree premeditated or capital murder, one of the conditions might be murdering someone while committing another felony. And in this case, that would be the case here, since so was armed robbery. So this could first-degree murder, premeditated murder, capital murder, depending on what state you're in, definitely could be a life sentence or death penalty. So it looks like he agreed to plead to the charge below that to avoid that.
As part of the sentencing, a family member makes a victim impact statement on behalf of the victim's mother, who's too overcome with emotion to speak.
And it looks like he doesn't care.
You wanted so badly that you felt the need to murder my son was worth the next at least 52 years of your continued existence. You won't get the luxury of raising your child because you took mine away.
Wright's demeanor during this statement is not what you might expect.
Your actions have led you to a prison cell, but have also created an empty cell that I live in every day. While you can still hope to be released one day, I'll never escape my help. You are still alive, but Jordan has no future. Thank you, Your Honor. We're done.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
That's all you
What?
got to say. You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties. But watching you sit there, smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do.
The judge does have the...
Yeah, so even if both the prosecution and defense agree on a plea deal, the judge has the final say in whether or not it's accepted. And he's seeing this clown act this way. Yeah, I'd say it's tempting to take him to trial and get that first-degree murder charge and just put him away for life.
The authority to reject the plea deal.
Mr. Bella, do you want me to accept this sentence agreement?
Your Honor, before I answer the court's question, I would like an opportunity to discuss it with the victim's family. I have had a very lengthy discussion.
So what they're going to discuss is what exactly it would entail if they go to trial. That's probably going to involve the victim's family or other witnesses. They'll have to testify now and be cross-examined. This is gonna get dicey. It's gonna take a long time. And well, let's see what the family wanted to do.
With the victim's mother as well as his grandparents and some family members, they understand that obviously this is the defendant who brutally murdered their son by shooting him in the back of the head. He's shown absolutely no remorse. However, the Glee family does want to move on with this, and they are asking, as well as the people, that you proceed with the sentence.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the victim's family, they don't want to drag this out. They just want to move on and grieve. And it looks like the judge is going to go with that. I mean, at this point, he doesn't care about what happens to the defendant. I mean, that ship has sailed. The defendant's acting like a clown. Nobody cares what's good for him anymore. So it's a question of doing what's good for the victim's family. So that's what they're going to roll with.
The judge accepts the sentencing agreement, which puts him behind bars for 25 to 52 years.
That's still a pretty long time, and I'm guessing he was sentenced as an adult. So.
Communications, Warhurst.
Yeah, I want to report a crime that's about to happen.
What do you mean a crime that's about to happen?
Yeah, there's about to be a crime that's going to happen if my kids don't come back to me, you stupid bitch. Because your stupid judges don't want to bring people to courtrooms. I got a gun pointed at your building.
Oh, boy.
What is going on?
Got a terroristic
threat. Stupid bitch. Where's your judge warrant at? You going to bring that bitch out?
I will show you a sir.
Handcuffs, and I'm going to execute that son of a bitch right in the street.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to shoot this bitch. You done? Give me my kids.
Where are you at, sir?
Okay, let's find this guy.
I'm outside of her building waiting for her to
Oh.
get there in the morning. I'm going to pop a cap in that
Uh-oh.
bitch. You stupid.
Detectives identify
boy.
the anonymous caller and track him down. Alan McCarty is
Oh, yeah,
arrested
he looks like a
charged
great
with making
guy.
death threats against the judge, whom he mistakenly believes took his children away in a child custody case.
I
Now,
think
a
he
year
threatened the
later,
wrong
in front of a
judge.
different judge. His trial begins.
Okay.
I'm not under oath. That's Badfinger. I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, Badfinger, I love that band.
He's done unconstitutionally. He's all took my kids unrightfully. You want to allow my witnesses here? We haven't started the trial yet. It doesn't matter.
This is a separate issue. This is not a family court, and you threatened a judge.
You want to take my kids from me and act like that? You ain't that bitch.
Gee, I can't imagine why anybody would want to take your kids away from you.
You ain't the bitch that took my kids. You want to be in the room or not? Do you want to suck my? I prefer not to, sir. Well, you got a mouth for it.
Oh boy.
I got a lot more cussing to do, honey. You know when the jury's here. What the do you think? I don't know. I need you to answer.
McCarty's eventually found guilty.
Oh boy.
Claims the following month for sentencing.
You're before the court, Mr. McCarty, to show cause why I should not hold you in contempt for behavior that you demonstrated during the jury trial. You threatened the unborn child of the prosecutor.
What a bunch of lies, you stupid piece.
Then also
Still acting tough.
in the back room.
I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm just not
Yep. Passive resistance is still resistance.
standing. I don't have to stand.
McCarty's removed again. This time he's placed in a back room with a one-way mirror.
Count one, I'm gonna
Is that mirror yelling at me? What's that smearing sound I hear?
adjudicate him guilty. Sentence him to 15 years in Florida State Prison. As to
Oh god, of course this is Florida.
sentence him to 5 years to run consecutive
A lot of wild stuff comes out of Florida.
to count one.
McCarty's currently serving his sentence in a Florida state prison.
Yep. And
Next
do it.
up is Michael Ray.
Okay, we already saw this guy.
Including criminal.
That's, like I said earlier, that's not a beard. His hair's upside down. Let's scoot on past this guy.
We're in the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice in Detroit, Michigan, for the sentencing of 25-year-old Amanda Casal.
There's a lot of things that you can do, and your life doesn't have to be over because of a poor choice. You just have to accept responsibility for it and find a way to make something positive out of a very negative situation.
Casal's been found guilty of driving under the influence, causing a head-on collision.
Ooh.
Killed 31-year-old Jerome Zerker
Oh man, vehicular manslaughter.
and severely injured his fiancée, 31-year-old Brittany Johnson. The couple have 5 children together. Prior to sentencing, the court will hear a powerful impact statement from the victim's children, read by his sister, Doreen Zerker.
Amanda, look what you did
Excuse
to
me.
my life. You ruined everything I had, like my dad's life.
Amanda seems devastated by Doreen's words. But Judge Kiana Lillard apparently hears some snickering from Casal's family sitting in the gallery.
You can go too. Whoever can sit here at a
This is
tragic
not
moment
the
like
time to
this
laugh.
and laugh and smile when somebody has lost a family member. This is a court of law. You cannot come down to the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice and act any way you want to act.
That's the defendant's mother, Donna Casal.
Because if you don't know how to act, you can go to jail. Ma'am, you are being taken into custody for criminal contempt. Your disruptive and disrespectful behavior disrupted today's proceedings, and you, ma'am, are going to the Wayne
Judge
County
is
Jail
getting louder.
for 93 days for direct criminal contempt. It'll be the sentence of this court that you will serve 3 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. If there's nothing further, that concludes this matter.
Casal only serves 3 years and is then paroled in February 2020. As for Amanda's mother, Donna, she spends the night in jail and appears before Judge Lillard the next morning. Donna seems to have learned a serious lesson from just one night behind bars.
Man, that's all it took. Just one night in jail.
Ms. Coulson, is there something you'd like to say?
Yes, I deeply apologize for what I did. I was under a lot of stress. And I deeply apologize for what I did in your court. I just needed to get out. It's been very hard for me this year, and I know for the other family, and I'm so sorry for what I did, and I know it was wrong, and I apologize.
I know
Yeah, she just wants to get out of jail.
people watch a lot of shows on TV where you see different things happening in make-believe courtrooms that give people a skewed sense of reality, but this is real.
Thank you.
And we just can't have people behaving like that. It can't be tolerated. So I will modify your sentence for direct criminal contempt from 93 days to 1 day with credit for time served, and you should be released today.
God bless you, thank you, and I apologize very sorely, and for the other family.
Donna serves 1 day
Thank you.
and is released.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
I do appreciate that judge saying that. Like, I remember I used to try watching Law and Order, and there were so many moments in there. I thought in that show, this is not how a courtroom works. This is not how people behave in a courtroom. Just so much like leading witnesses, badgering witnesses, speculation, things that attorneys would never get away with in real life. Like, if you watch Law and Order or other legal shows for the entertainment, I mean, good on you. They can be entertaining, but they're not a good representation of how our legal system operates. Definitely don't go to them. Don't go to a TV show for legal advice. Let's see what we got. Shocking outbursts. Okay, this could be fun.
You'll see he can't.
Let's go back to
fight like demons.
I meant the beginning of the show, not the ad.
We start things off at the Russell and Wayne counties.
So, if you could tell, I was already watching this one, but I'm just going to start from the beginning.
Family court in Kentucky for a hearing on a domestic violence order filed by a husband against his ex-wife.
Okay, so we got a ex-husband trying to get a restraining order against his ex-wife.
And the respondent were married in the past and have children in common, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And were the statements you made in your petition true and correct at that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you willing to make those statements part of your sworn testimony here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you asking the court to enter an order restraining the respondent from any contact with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, yeah, all these questions she's asking, this is all stuff that the clerk has to put on the official, type on the official record. So, they're just getting all that administrative stuff out of the way. And we'll get to the meat and potatoes of what's going on.
I've taken your statements in your petition as part of your testimony, but I need you to tell me briefly, in your own words, what happened to cause you to ask for a domestic violence order.
Yes, Your Honor. Things have been escalating, I guess, since the first of the year. And, Melissa's had a couple MIWs and a couple arrests.
Okay, so that I didn't know. Mental inquest warrant. So I guess that's just asking the court to investigate whether or not somebody's mental health is in question and their ability to well, it says it right there. So.
And she got out of jail in, I guess, April, and she started, we hadn't really had anything personal up until that point. She got out of jail in April, and she started...
My personal life is
Not your turn.
has nothing to do with
Miss Hardwick?
No.
Yeah, never say anything in court until it's your turn. You'll get your turn, lady. You gotta let the dude go first. And that's always how this goes. You have the person who's presenting the case. They almost always go first, and then the other person or the respondent, they're the one that goes second. So you gotta wait your turn.
You will be held in contempt of this court if you become disruptive.
I don't care. I haven't done anything to
Oh,
this court.
don't care?
I haven't done
Okay.
anything to them.
She will be arrested
It
for
doesn't make
contempt
any-
of
it doesn't
court.
make any difference.
You will serve 10 days for contempt of court.
Still don't care? Whoa! Okay. Let's make that a couple years. wait and see. Oh, threatening a judge too. Jeez.
After spending nearly 5 months in
Well, protective order granted.
jail, Melissa Hardwick pleads guilty to intimidating a participant in a legal process. She avoids any further jail time by agreeing to a court-ordered diversion or rehabilitation program for 5.
I think in other places that might just fall under obstruction. I think that falls under obstruction charges.
5 years.
The emergency protective order will remain in place of no contact.
That's one way to get a protective order.
Before we hit the courtroom for our next story,
boy.
we're going to take you back to the beginning of the defendant's journey.
Okay.
We're in Springfield, Ohio, and the owner of John's Drive-Thru is closing up shop for the night.
Okay.
A man approaches from the back.
Mm-hmm.
The owner spots him on the security camera feed.
Oh! There we go. Did you hit him?
Yeah, this is John's Drive-Thru, West Main Street. A guy just tried to rob me and I shot him. He ran out the back door. Okay, is he injured? I think I hit him.
With help from the store's security camera footage and a tip from a local hospital,
Yep, you hit him.
the man with multiple gunshot wounds.
Oh.
Police identified the perp
And he still ran off. Okay.
as Ricky Hand, a known career criminal.
I did try to rob John's Drive-Thru. Got shot 3 times. I did the crime, I ain't gonna lie. I just wanted to let you know.
So, John, what'd you do with the pistol that you had when you were in there? Because, you know, it's my understanding when you run in there, you started pulling out and the guy saw you.
Right, but I didn't even get it out.
You were going for it, though, right?
But I didn't even get it out. He branched. He shot me regardless.
Well, I think he's well aware that you've been robbing places at gunpoint or so.
I've never robbed anybody. That's the first one I've ever done.
Now, hang on a second. Now, you and I have been straight with each other every time we met each other, okay?
Yeah.
I know there's more to it than that.
I did bring, I pulled it out. I pulled the weapon out. But I don't think I got it
That's brandishing. You said you didn't do that earlier.
all the way out.
Well, he saw you. That's why he shot you.
Hand is indicted on 30 charges connected to a string of business break-ins at gunpoint. He confesses to a series of armed robberies.
There have been probably a half a dozen or more robberies. Now, you're looking at John's. You're looking at this break-in to this beauty salon.
That's all I've done.
The beauty salon's a bonus because I didn't even know anything about that.
Oh gosh.
I'm going.
This is why you get a lawyer. So you don't, because remember, I mean, he's probably already been Mirandized at this point, read his rights, but yeah, anything you say can and will be used as evidence against you. Don't admit to robberies they didn't even know happened. People, you have the right to a lawyer. Use it.
Well, you know that.
Now Hand sits in a Clark County courtroom in Ohio, where a judge has just handed down his sentence.
Oh, now you have a lawyer.
Did you just give me 40 years? Sir?
Yeah, how many robberies did you admit to again?
Yes. You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what?
Oh. Stop him. Get him. Whew. That could have been worse. What was he getting out? What was he trying to get out?
Hand was clearly expecting a lesser sentence.
Is that a weapon?
But if we look again,
Did you just give me 40 years?
you'll
I couldn't see what
he
he was...
came prepared for the worst.
You just gave me 40
What was
years.
it?
Well, guess what?
Look closely. Hand reaches into his arm sling and pulls out some cloth that was hiding a small bottle filled with, ready for this? His own
Oh!
and urine.
Come on, man. Why? Why couldn't you sneak a shank in like a normal convict? That's nasty. Like, come on. You know, if I were the judge, I'd be like, why'd you have to bring that in my courtroom? Now it's gonna stink. Why couldn't you just try to stab me like a normal angry convict?
Charges of harassment with obstructing justice and retaliation.
Oh my gosh. What's wrong with these people?
Let's head to Jefferson Circuit Court
Next time, just sharpen a toothbrush.
in Louisville, Kentucky.
This is the matter of Adam Sandler.
Okay.
This is 36-year-old Adam Satterley. Satterley's in court today on a bond hearing related to drug charges.
Oh, that man's messed up.
He's appearing before Circuit Judge Olu Stevens, heard off camera.
Okay. Your objections notice overruled. Motion's granted.
Satterley's attorney warns his client to stay calm
Let your attorney do the talking.
after hearing the bad news. Judge Stevens has revoked Satterley's bond, meaning Satterley will return to custody. That yell you
Oh,
just
wow.
heard was Satterley.
That was an in. There's an in there. Oh boy. Yeah. There's like a pause there. It's like, God dang it. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all the cases that I have.
The
Oh my
judge seems
gosh.
to be moving on with the day, but then
Miss Alvey, before you go, you indulge me one second.
Oh my gosh. Idiot. I don't think I have to. I don't think I have to be a lawyer to give this advice. Never call a judge that.
Satterley, bring it back. You just tell the sheriff. Oh, Brad. You still have Satterley? I apologize. Just give me 1 minute. It won't even take that.
Oh my god.
the judge has some unfinished business with Satterley.
Is there something that you wish to say to me?
No, it's my brother.
Oh, was that to your brother?
Right.
You say a racial epithet.
No, I didn't like that.
Oh, you didn't mean it like that. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. You said that. And you don't speak those words in here.
I think he's lying.
That word particularly, you don't use that word. I'm going to give you 60 days for having used that word.
Yep.
Hold you in contempt right now for having done it in this courtroom. It's disrespectful. Don't ever
Do that
it
in
again.
any courtroom.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Never do that in any courtroom.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Jesus.
Satterley's hit with an additional 60 days for contempt of court.
Yep.
Following the incident, Judge Stevens offered Satterley an opportunity. If Satterley apologizes for using a racial slur, he would reduce the additional sentence to just a day. Satterley took the judge up on his offer.
Yes, sir. I apologize. It wasn't intended for you. It was. I was mad at my brother. That's all it was.
I think that's his attorney trying to just apologize. No, don't say that. Nobody's buying it. Just stick to what we agreed on.
Well, you can have a seat.
Nobody's buying the brother thing.
It was a racial epithet that I don't know how it could be directed at your brother, but at any rate, I accept your
It's
apology.
not.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Christopher Cologne.
Yes, Judge Hurley again.
Our next stop is at the Broward County Courthouse in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
You've been charged with 2 counts of violating an injunction.
All right, we got Judge Hurley again.
Appears for his bond hearing via video before Judge John Hurley.
Court finds probable cause.
Cologne was arrested and charged with
Judge John Hurley, if you ever see this video, I just want to let you know you're awesome.
2 counts of violating a restraining order in a domestic violence case related to his
Ooh.
ex-girlfriend. He also
Okay.
has an
Oh.
open pending case in which he's being charged for aggravated
Okay.
battery against a
His last.
woman.
Okay, all-round scumbag, and his last name is Colon, of course.
His current girlfriend.
I think I remember you from before coming into this courtroom.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I remember.
Less than a month ago, Cologne posted bond.
Oh, Cologne. Oh. I apologize, Mr. Cologne. I thought your name was spelled colon. Not that I care. You attacked a pregnant woman.
In the aggravated battery case and went free. So the judge isn't exactly thrilled to see him again.
You're already out on bond. You're already out.
Yes, sir, and my bondsman is willing to take me out again on a bond.
That's very kind of him, but that won't be necessary today.
Yeah, usually if you're already out on bond and you're being arraigned for something else, you're not going to get bond again.
Because you're
I'll see you guys. Well, I'll see you guys in with a lawyer and a lawsuit too.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, bring him
Why don't you have a lawyer now?
back, please.
And you can go yourself too.
Cologne storms off.
Would you bring it back for me, please?
Come back, colon. Come back, colon. But don't spew any more crap, colon.
Judge, he's back.
Good morning again, Mr. Cologne.
Good morning to you.
Yes, sir.
Come.
Mr. Cologne. Yeah, don't mute that. Could
Yeah. We call this legal tactic, giving him enough rope to hang himself.
you turn that mic back on for me? Turn the mic back on.
You guys can.
Come on, get it out.
I'm being dead ass.
Come on.
$125,000. Your bond on count two will be $125,000. Your total
How much is my bond?
$250,000.
Okay, no problem. I can bond out in a minute.
Court will also order, sir, on case
I thought we weren't gonna give him bond.
14-7168 CF10. You'll be held without bond.
Okay.
That bond is revoked.
So he's being given a $250,000 bond for one charge and no bond for the other, so he's still gonna stay in jail.
With the amount seemingly no issue, the judge has just taken away the bond from the aggravated battery case, meaning
I think he is a community safety risk. I mean, this is the guy who attacked a pregnant woman. I'd say while he was out on bond. So, yeah, definitely keep him locked up.
Cologne will not be able to go free this time. And this really sets him off.
Like I said, you guys. Why you guys had it?
Keep it coming.
The court at this time is inclined to hold you in contempt of court.
I don't give a. Go ahead, I got lawyers, man. Look here, man. I don't got nothing to say, man.
Now, I will find you in contempt of court for disrupting this court. Now, I will give
You was already going to find me in contempt of court. Anyway,
an
man.
opportunity. Is there anything you'd like to say?
You ain't no Hitler, man, for me to have to salute.
Noting that you made no comments in your defense, the court at this time will sentence you to 364 days in the Broward County Jail. Thank you very much. Have a
you. That's why.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Kudos to you, Judge, for not getting not getting a rise out of you.
See Mr. Cologne, please.
A week later, Cologne is
Oh,
back in front of the judge.
We're back.
Judge Harley, I apologize. What I did, I was wrong. And not only I was wrong for cursing you out, the deputies hearing me curse you out, I apologize to them too. Your Honor, I apologize real bad, and I'm asking for my apology, please, Your Honor.
You're still gonna stay in jail.
It will be converted to time served at this time.
Oh, come on.
Apology gets that additional year sentence for contempt cut down to time served, but still gets no bond.
Okay.
for the aggravated
He's still not
battery
getting out
case.
anyway, so.
Serves almost 14 months. before
Excuse
he's
me.
released.
We head down to Daytona Beach, Florida, where a call comes
already-
into the Volusia County Sheriff's Office.
Communications.
Okay, we already saw this one. This is the guy who had to be put behind glass. Okay, that's the last one of that stream. Alright guys, I think we're gonna call that a night. Anybody who tuned in, thanks. I will post this up on YouTube later for anybody who wants to watch it. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all later.